I think I'm in.
What?
I think I'm in Canvas as test student. I can only, if I join the Zoom, I can only do it this way.
Yeah, but it comes up. Um, you are, did you get your hair cut?
No,
No.
I just straightened it.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna make you co-host. I am okay. I don't know if I'm gonna be here for like the breakout room time.
Yeah.
I don't know yet. We had lightning hit one of our trees like 20 minutes ago. So it's crazy.
Miles is gonna be late. He let me know.
Okay. Did you tell him to tell Dario?
I think he did both.
Okay. So make sure.
When you click on the Zoom class link or whatever, it just opens it and brings you to class.
No, I do it through calendar. Like you know how Alana gave us the the Google Calendar thing and said add it to the calendar, add the classes to the. If you do this, it'll add it to your calendar. It's in one of the instructional announcements
For me?
for everybody. It was last week. She said, click on this link, it'll add it to your Google Calendar.
Oh,
So that's what I use.
okay.
Um, and then can we set up time tomorrow in the morning to chat about like the test and all that stuff, whatever time is good for you?
Yeah, I want to do let's see, 10 o'clock.
Tomorrow's Tuesday, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, let's do 10. Just like yeah, I'll send you a Zoom. Like, can you send me a Zoom for 10?
Yeah.
Okay. Um, and then announcements today. What announcements are we doing?
I don't know. Is there anything?
Yeah, I kind of want to talk about I want to reiterate like the whole issue with the purpose of the instructions and why they're so meticulous. Um, right. Okay. You want me to let people in? Or you want to let people in?
Yeah, I'll let him in.
Can you hear me okay? Okay. Hi. we're just going to wait like 2 minutes, maybe 1 minute, and we're going to get started. I don't want to run late. Just can you at 7, like on the half hour, on the like I want to be done with lesson at. I want to try to keep the lesson to 50 minutes. So then we get a 10-minute break, and then everybody can be in breakouts for an hour. So can you let me know when it's 7 o'clock? This way I can just make sure. Thank you.
Hello, Asha.
How's everybody today?
Good. I have a question. This is the week we take the assessment, correct?
It is.
Is this week 3 is the week we take the assessment to see if we can continue in the class?
Yes, it is. We'll make an announcement probably tomorrow regarding the assessments. Okay, so it looks like we are close to count. Rico has a hand up. Go ahead.
I'm having an issue viewing the previous Zooms. So when I go inside of the module, go to the selection, it directs me to a different web page that allows me to, it almost looks like a Canvas when we first log in, it has a Unicode.
Okay. So I'm just going to interrupt you because I know exactly what you're going to say.
Okay, yeah.
Make sure, so when you're watching Panopto, make sure that you're opening it. It's going to open from Canvas and it's going to say you don't have a link, blah, blah, blah. It gives you like a blank white page. And then copy and paste that URL and then open it in Chrome. Because if you're in Safari or Firefox, it's not going to open. So copy the URL and then go to Chrome and open it in Chrome. And then you'll be able to view Panopto.
Okay, I got to download Chrome.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, for some reason, there's some issue with Safari and Firefox that you're not able to watch Panopto videos. Okay. It's an existing issue that we've had. Every cohort has the same exact issue. So cool. And kudos to you for watching Panopto videos. Okay. Eugene has a hand up. And Rico, you can put your hand down. Do you have another question? Unless you have another question. Okay. And Eugene had a hand up. And maybe I answered his question as well. Same time. Okay. I want to say thank you to everyone who came to office hours over the last couple of days. I think that we made a lot of progress for people that were stuck, either with Git or with problem solving. And I wanted to touch base a little bit about some of the logic behind, I'm sorry, I'm a little bit hoarse today. So if I'm a little scratchy, please excuse me. About the logic behind why the unit tests are so persnickety or why we set it up that way. Going back to the lecture that Mark did on the second day of technical classes about thinking like an engineer, okay? And it's about really not making assumptions when it comes to coding. It's always asking clarifying questions. It's thinking about what your output should look like and asking questions, okay? If you think about, and as you're learning to prepare for your software engineering technical interviews, which every software engineer, I'm not going to say every, most software engineering positions will require you to go through some sort of technical interview. and you're going to be pair programming live with somebody on their team. And you are going to be presented with a coding problem, okay? And they're going to say, print hello world. And that's all they're going to say to you. It is your job to speak to the interviewer and say, ask clarifying questions. What does the output look like? Do you want it in all caps? Do you want it lowercase? Do you want any punctuation? Do you want a comma after the hello? What size of the input? All these kinds of questions you are expected to ask the interviewer, because the interviewer is going to want you to do these things. Okay. Just like the hello world of the hello world that you just went through, it was, is there a space? Is there no space? Is there a comma, et cetera, et cetera. What we're doing here is preparing you to start thinking like an engineer. It is not to frustrate you. It is not to stop you from being a good coder. It is actually to make you a better coder. So I wanted to clarify that a little bit. Getting these and building these habits now is going to make you a great coder. So thinking through what is the question asking you and going through those, it's called an edge case. Is it a float? Is it a duplicate? How, what problems could I incur if I do it this way versus that way? Those are things that you as an engineer are going to be expected to think through. So all we're doing is preparing you for that. Okay, any questions? Awesome. All right. Okay, so today we are going to be working through any questions and no questions.
Asha, I'm gonna just show one thing really quickly to chime on to your instructions about like the unit tests. And in office hours, I noticed the theme was like modifying some of the files, and then you'd be in this like never-ending loop trying to get it to match exactly how you cloned your repo. So I just want to briefly share something. Can everyone see my VS Code? When I'm doing an exercise, and I would like to make this suggestion for you too, I very often or always open a new file, and I will name it something like temp exercise practice .py at the end, and I would put it near the same place as my other ones. This is just a blank file, and then I will take one part of the problem, copy it, put it in my new file, and play with it. This way I don't like where this is. I'm going to go down here. This is confusing me. I just want to work with this little piece of code and not get confused by the other things. And then this way, once I figure it out and I have what I want, I'm going to go back to the exercise and enter where I'm supposed to enter without modifying anything else. I just want to share that for people that maybe don't know that the file, if it ends in .py, it will format the exact same way, and then you can practice all you want without adjusting the test or the file itself that you're going to end up pushing to GitHub. Bennett, do you have a question?
Yes. When you do that, is there any way you can test that little snippet of code?
Mm-hmm. You can run it just the way you run your code in the exercise by typing your computer's version of Python and the name of the file.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thanks, Jess. Okay, so before class today, the videos and the previous lessons, we became comfortable with integers, strings, floats. Today, we're going to be working with logic. And we're going to dive deep into it. And I'm going to try to get through the whole lesson in, like I said earlier, in 50 minutes. Then you guys can take a break and then spend the rest of the full hour in breakout rooms. So the object of today's lesson is to familiarize you with the double equal signs versus a single equal sign. Apply the true false logic to all the primitive data types. To go through compound statements using and or and not, and then gain some proficiency using if, elif, which is else if, and else statements when we're executing code. Okay, so I'm going to open my VS Code. Okay, everyone can see my screen okay? Someone give me a thumbs up. Jessica is shaking her head. So let's start with something simple like numerical logic, okay? So what I'm going to do is, again, because we're going to try to make sure that we get through the whole lesson and everybody is, you know, I'm not mistyping and wasting time. I'm just going to cut and paste through my lesson. And so here is print is 1 greater than 0. So is 1 greater than 0? What do we expect, right? So let's do, and my file name is logic.py, and I am in the correct, fix my Zoom. Okay, so I should be able to say in this logic, I should be able to see that my output is going to be Boolean. Is it true or false? Okay, so it is true. So it's going to print true for me. Simple enough, right? So Python offers several sets of comparison operators, right? Greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, or not equal to, okay? So you think about these comparisons like picking up different boxes, right? And comparing them to different contents of other boxes. Okay, so let's just go through each one. Okay, so I've set up a series of comparisons and I'm going to comment this out. And again, because I want to make sure that we get through all of these, I'm going to set up a series here and paste it here. I'm saving, I'm assigning the variable A equal to 0, B equal to 1, and C equal to 1. So the first one is I'm saying, is A equal to B? The second one, I'm using the new concept that we learned the other day, an F string. Is A not equal to B? Is A greater than B? Is A less than B? Is B greater than or equal to C? Or is B less than or equal to C? Okay. Again, very straightforward comparisons here. Nothing that you guys wouldn't be able to do in your head. But, you know, in Python, you can have it do it for you. And let's look at the results. Okay. So because I'm using the F string, it should print each sentence with, and I'm using curly brackets here with my conditional, right? So it should print out, is A equal to B, and then the result of my conditional. Okay. Ooh. So as you can see here in my terminal, it's doing exactly what I asked it to in my F string. So in the first statement, is A equal to B? It's false. Okay, and so on. Any questions so far? No questions. Okay, so now the question then becomes is, what is the difference between a single equal sign and a double equal sign? this. Anyone want to take a wild guess? Sandra, you can come off mute.
Yeah. An equal sign is for assigning a variable, and the double equal sign is equal to.
Perfect. Absolutely. So let's see. Exactly as you said. So if we say, all we're going to do here is A. Here we are assigning the value to the variable A. And here I'm going to I should do this. And as Sandra just said, it's line 16 is printing the Boolean response to printing A is A equal to the value of 2. And because on line 15, we assigned the value A to the value 2, it's going to print true. Okay, so comparing integers to floats. So when you're comparing an integer to a float, Python respects mathematical properties. Therefore, an integer and a float with the same mathematical values are considered equal. So if I do, let's comment this out. Someone want to raise their hand and tell me what this is? Is this going to ring true or false? Paul?
True.
That's correct. Because again, mathematically, an integer of the value and a float should be the same. Although integers and float represent data differently under the hood, Python represents their value the same way mathematically. Clifton, or Sky, go ahead. Oh, no, you just were raising your hand.
I had it left up.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so now let's talk about Booleans. In a Boolean, what is the value of Boolean? Okay, so a Boolean also has a value. Okay, so in Booleans, oh, Donald, do you have a question or is your hand just up?
You
Donald,
asked what the value of a Boolean is, and I was going to answer the question.
please answer it.
Okay, so the value of true
Mhm.
is 1,
Okay,
and the value of false is 0.
that's correct. So if I do this, do this. Okay, so here, let's do the first one. Does someone want to raise their hand and go through each one of these and tell me what we're going to see as the result? Wesley.
All right.
I'm going to type out.
True.
This is
Yeah,
going to be
all
true.
right.
Can you tell
Yeah,
us why?
true. Because I believe 1 from the numerical values, 1 is always true. 1 is true, 0 is false, I
That's
believe.
right. Because true equals in Boolean equals 1. Okay?
And so I believe that is the same thing, true. This is a true also.
Okay? Because
yeah, as we said, I think as you said before, that just because as the integer and the float, they are, Python, compares them the same. At least calculates them the same.
Exactly.
So I would say number 3 is false.
Okay. Okay.
That is true.
Okay.
And the final one is true.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions? So we have true, true, false, true, true. So you have true, true, false, true, true. Everyone good? Okay. So those are all fairly straightforward. So I'm commenting all that out. So let's try this. Adding these two together. Someone want to come off mute and tell me what this is? Is it possible to do this? Is it possible to add a number, which is a float, or an integer with a Boolean? So let's pick somebody different. Naima, oh, I'm trying to see who's raising their hands. Naima, you have your hand raised.
I would say false
Okay. Why would you say false?
because it's a number and then a Boolean, which is true.
Okay. So what happens here is that Python will yield it will convert the true to a numeric value and then add it together. Okay. So what'll happen here is that it'll convert true to its numeric value, and then it'll add. Okay, so my result will become, it'll be a 4.5. Oh, I didn't save. That makes sense? Sky.
Yeah, it makes sense, but it feels like it's more of a nuance than an actual like true utility in terms of as we start programming, we'll find ourselves using this frequently. Like, I mean, every language has its sort of hackable feature because like not all instances can be represented because this notion of like if you write a program and for all things true, why would you want the value of a thing that's true when the value is limited to just one? I think there are some instances for that, but it feels like it's so nuanced.
Well, what if you want to add all the truths together? How many instances of truths are available? Like if you have a list, right, and you want to add together how many instances of how many people said yes? How many yeses are there, right? How many people raised their hand to say yes, right? And you could program it to say, count the numbers. If this column equals yes, which is a true, then add all those together.
Yeah, but a count function is for that too. But I mean, I think it's a really nuanced instance. That's what I was just saying. The fact that you can turn, because I agree with Naima that intuitively you would feel like, oh, true, although it has a value, it's a Boolean value, and now it's being lent itself to do computation. And so like it just feels like I'm not sure. Well, just it's a thought.
It is important to know because under the hood, Python is converting everything to Unicode. So it's important for you guys to understand that it's being converted numerically on the under the hood when it's being the interpreter, when it's being interpreted. So it's something that you will be using in one way or another. So understanding that Boolean values have a numeric value is important. So, it's like, I'm trying to think. If you have a SQL table, okay, and it's like, and you're trying to weight grades. Okay, let's put for this instance grades. Okay, the grades are, you have JTC, right? You have grades that are your quiz grades, you have exercise grades, you have PDP grades, but then you have participation grades, and then you have, there's one more, participation and collaboration, right? Right. So under the hood, you have Boolean, right? So everything else is numeric, right? So if you think about it, in a table in your database, you would have to add up all those columns. So numerically, that becomes something real in real world scenario. Your grades are all numeric, and then participation is simply a yes or no, a true or false, right? Did you participate? Did you not participate? So it becomes a scenario that becomes real world. Eugene.
Earl, I'm sorry about that. You answered my question.
Okay.
I was gonna ask, basically, could you add the booleans together and get an answer? But you answered my question. I didn't know my hand was still raised.
Okay, cool. Fantastic.
And one thing is that you're not going to you're probably not going to purposefully add a Boolean, knowing it's a Boolean, to this calculation, but you can accidentally do it in your code, and you're not going to get an error that says, no, that was a Boolean, idiot. Like you're going to get something else, and you're going to have to understand that's why it happened. It's not going to point it out for you. It's going to give you an actual calculation. That's another reason that it's really important to remember
7:30.
That is what that's what Python is going to do.
Okay. Makes sense? Okay. So let's comment this out. Okay, so let's do this. So now we're comparing what do we think this is going to come out to? True or false? Anybody else in this room that's been quiet? Jessica, call on somebody that hasn't raised their hand.
Who's here?
I'm going to call on Patrick first because Patrick hasn't spoken today. Patrick.
I believe it's going to come up false.
Can you tell me why?
Because I mean, it's comparing, it's comparing the Boolean to a string, and the string is not yeah.
Absolutely. This is a Boolean versus a string. So this will come up false. Oh, gotta save it. Sorry. Okay. I don't have autosave on. I know, you can do that, but I don't like autosave. Okay. So that one is good to go. Comment this out. Okay. So here, Ephraim, you have a question.
Yeah, can you explain? I mean, I understand how the Boolean and versus a string is two different things, but I'm just confused about the double equal sign.
Okay. Okay, so go ahead.
The double equal sign is basically making it equal to the string. Why can't it become one? I mean, why can't it become equal? If it's the double equal sign, that's what its job is there for.
A single equal sign is assigning. Okay, right here. Okay, a single equal sign assigns a value to a variable. A double equal sign is the comparison operator. Okay, so if I want to assign a value to a variable, I use a single equal sign. If I want to compare two variables, I use a double equal sign. That's the difference. So in this case, I'm using a double equal sign, which means I'm telling Python, compare the Boolean on the left to the string true on the right.
So my question is, if it was a single equal sign, what would it be? Would it be
well, here I can't do that because here I can't print. I would have to do it this way. I would have to set it first. I would have to sign true equals, and then let me comment this out.
okay.
And this is a string, right? So I would have to do this way.
Asha, it's 7:01.
Okay, thank you. Can someone tell me why it's underlined here? Why is it giving me an error?
Because you can't use a string as an assignment vehicle.
That's right. Okay, so Ephraim, do you want me to make it a string here, or you want me to make it a Boolean? So if I do
a string.
Well, see, and here's the other problem.
It'll still be the same thing.
True is a Boolean, right? And it's a restricted variable name. Okay, so the reason why Python is giving the squiggly line is because I can't use the word true as a variable name. So I can't use the word false either, right? Here I can't use the word false. It's not, it'll let me, but it won't like it because it's false is saved, right? It's a special term in Python, right? So it's bad. It's going to cause a whole bunch of other issues in the back end if you try to use false here.
Okay.
Okay. If I use false 1, it's better. If I do true, and technically you should not use capitals. If I use true 1, it's better, right? So if I do true 1 here, right? It's not going to give me, okay. So now if I do print true 1, it'll give me true. I didn't save it. See, there you go. So now and if I do here, print the type of true 1, save it. This is a string, so it should tell me it's a string. If I take the quotes away, and now I do it again, it should say it's a Boolean. See, it changed. Because now the quotes are gone. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay, perfect. Somebody else had their hand up. Sky, I think you put your hand up while Ephraim was asking his question. Okay, good to go. Okay, so let's comment this out. Here we are defining 3 strings. A equals cat, B equals cat, the same exact string, and C equals all uppercase cat. And now we're going to check if they're equal to each other. Does someone else, Jessica, can you call on somebody that has not, Peter, can you tell me what it's going to return?
True for A equals B.
Okay.
Because they're both lowercase. That'll be false on the next one because lowercase cat is actually greater than uppercase cat because Unicode recognizes lowercase as a higher value. So that'll be false. Okay. And the last one, A is not equal to C. That'll be true.
Okay. Okay, so let's talk about Unicode. We touched on it the other day just a little bit. So, and we talked about how Python under the hood converts everything. Ephraim, do you have another question or did you just forget to put your hand back down? Okay, cool. So Python is going to convert CAT to a numerical, it's going to convert it to numerical number. Okay. Uppercase and lowercase have different numerical numbers. So in this case, when it's comparing A to C, they have different numerical values because they're uppercase and lowercase. So as Peter said, A and C are not equal to each other because one is uppercase and one is lowercase. In the third one, we're asking, is A not equal to C? And it's true. A is not equal to C. Any questions? Okay, so now let's go to talking about how strings and integers and floats and booleans can give you some unexpected results as well. Okay, so here we have 2 is 2 equal to the string 2, or is 2 equal to the string 2.0. Volunteer here. Somebody new. Christian Toro.
I would say that that would be false because those strings were never assigned any value. So my thinking is that it would say false.
Okay, so walk me through your logic one more time.
The is 2 the same as the string 2? I'm not sure. I'm not sure that that would be the same because the string 2 is a string, but it's not the numerical value of 2.
That's correct. So here, this is a number, right? It's an integer, is not equal to the string 2. And this, again, the number 2, which is an integer, right, is not equal to the string 2.0. So they're both false. Again, this is a little bit tricky because, you know, it wasn't to be a trick. It was just simply making sure that we are looking at strings versus, is it a number? Is it numeric value, or is it a string, right? Because you can put numeric values in a string, but then it's still a string. Keeping that in mind. Keep that in mind when you do your homework for this one. Hint, hint. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to talk about compound logic. Okay, so these were all singular logic. Now we're going to talk about or, and then not. Okay, so let's talk about or. With or, you can combine 2 conditions and get true if at least one of the logic operators is true. Okay, so let's look at that. So, somebody new want to jump in?
Kat wants to answer some questions.
Who does?
Kat.
Kat, come on. Come on up. You're the next contestant.
Sorry, my Wi-Fi is so glitchy I can't seem to get the hand up. All right. 2 is greater than 4 or is force. Well, of course, as soon as I look at it, everything leaves my brain.
Okay, so you're going to answer the first one. So
okay.
Is 2 less than 3? Let's start with that.
Yeah, 2 is less than 3. 3 is less than no, 3 is not greater than 4, so that wouldn't work.
Okay, wait. Let's start over. Okay. Is 2 less than 3?
Yes.
Okay. So in the or operator compound logic, right? Let's remember, with or, you combine 2 conditions and get true if one of them is true.
Okay, so true.
Okay, very good. All right, so do you want
They
to go
don't
on?
both have to be equal. Okay, yeah, that's because it's or, not double equals. Makes sense.
Okay. Would you like to do the next one?
Sure.
Is 2 greater than 3?
This would also be true because 2 is not greater than 3, but 4 is greater than 3.
Okay. Okay. Is 2 greater than 3? Or is 4 less than 3?
That would just be false all around.
Okay. Why is it false all around?
Because neither of those are accurate. Neither of the two options are true.
Okay, very good. Okay, so let's go to the last one. Is 2 less than 3 or 4 greater than 3?
That one's true because both of the arguments are true. So both arguments it has to choose from are true.
Okay, so let's see if you're right. Let's see if Python agrees with you. True, true, false, true.
The little things. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for volunteering. Okay, so now let's do and. Okay, so in and, with and you get true only if both conditions are true. Okay, so let's comment this out. Jessica, we're picking on somebody that has not volunteered in the cohort yet.
Steven.
Steven.
All right, let's go here. Let's try. It's 2 less than 3 and it's 4 less than 3.
So in the and compound logic, both conditions have to be true. Are both true?
So that would be false.
Okay. All right, let's move on. Is 2 greater than 3? And is 4 greater than 3?
That would also be false.
Okay. Is 2 greater than 3 and is 4 less than 3?
That would be 2 greater than 3 and it's 4 less. That'd be the same. That would have to be true. No. I'm wrong. It's too late. But hold on.
Okay. Look at them individually. Start with the first one. Is the first one true?
Yes, it is.
2 is greater than 3?
No, 2 is less than.
Okay, so it's false, right?
That's a false statement.
And they both have to be true. So if one of them is false, it's automatically going to be false.
Oh, it's automatically false. Okay, yes, you're right.
You don't even have to look at the right side. If the left side is false, you don't even have to look on the other side.
The right side is automatically false. Okay.
Awesome. Okay, so let's look at the last one. Is 2 less than 3?
That's true.
That's true. All right. Isaac, you have a hand up.
I'm just going to ask you a question. And the question was, I see that you comment out the first false and true statement of each print statement and not the rest of them. Why is that?
Oh, here?
Yeah, on all of them, on both sets.
It's just me.
Okay, because I was thinking maybe will it print false,
no,
even if it was like.
It's like you know what? Like, had you not said anything, I wouldn't have. Like, it was just me being me. That's all.
Oh, okay.
That's all.
I didn't know if that was part of Python or what.
No, it was just me. Thank you for saying that, though.
Let's run it.
It's a brain glitch. Okay, so let's run it.
Save it.
Okay. Yeah.
Save it and run it.
Okay, Python agrees with you. Fantastic. And last, let's see. We're going to do a Boolean. What am I doing? You can also do Booleans. Okay, so I'm going to comment this out. Steven, can you mute yourself?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, good. All right. So who wants to volunteer to do this? We're comparing Booleans. Isaac. Oh, Isaac. Wesley, go ahead.
False, false, true, true.
But you have to explain it.
Okay, so okay, so in Boolean terms, false, true and false are two different. True and false are have different values. What true is looking for is one value. The and operator needs to make sure both of them both equal the same.
Right. So let's see what it says.
Okay. Yeah, okay. I wonder why the false on the third one. Oh, because they're okay, because they both equal zero. Yeah, they both equal zero. So I guess they would both be false.
Right. They're both false.
Okay.
Does that make sense? They're looking for truths.
Yes. Yeah.
It's kind of like a mind trick, right? They're looking for truths. It's looking for true, right? I'm trying to think of a real world situation. This was used in this true, and I'll think of it in a second. There's a real world situation where this was used, and I think it was like I need to think of the example and be able to explain it, and I'll think of it and I'll come back to it. It has something to do with the IRS, and I'll come back to it. James, you have a question?
Yeah. So wouldn't it be the reason why is because usually you want the program, when you're writing a program, you want it to run the true statement anyway, not the false statement, because wouldn't that cause an error?
Yes.
So you would automatically, so that would be why true is looking for truth, because it's looking for what am I supposed to run as opposed to what I'm not supposed to.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Sky.
I was going to say this is where this issue of true or false actually having a value in Unicode, but actually the coding value of it's on its face. Like a thing that's true, what's happening here with the Boolean is that it's simply asking for truth. And the and is simply asking for truth. But whether or not it's 0 or 1 is actually irrelevant here. And that's where like understanding that it's not.
It is looking for truth. It's still looking for 0 and 1.
But why? That's really confusing, because if it's looking for 0 and it's okay, I get it. I get it, but it just seems like such okay. Yeah, it just seems like what? Yeah. I'm thinking out loud with it. It just seems, and I think it's in terms of having a command over the way in which we use the language, it's important to know that it has both a facial value, which is the word true or false. It also has a quantitative value, which is it's 0 or it's 1. And like vacillating back and forth of that, depending upon the circumstances, is a thing that could present itself as a challenge. But
it is on the backside and has a it understands that true is a 1 on under the hood. So it's not looking for the word true, it's looking for a 1 when it comes to Boolean. So it's much deeper than we understand it, because we're still we are we're still learning, and we don't understand the interpreted language of how it's compiling on the under the hood. But when you're looking at the functions of and the logic, it does understand that when it's comparing Boolean, it's saying, is it a 0 or is it a 1? So it's not looking for the word, the letters TRUE. It's looking for a 0 or 1. So, it's kind of complicated on face value, but it is a 0 to the computer and the interpreter. It is all zeros and ones, and it is simply that. It's a number. So, yeah.
So Asha, can I ask a question?
Yes, please do.
All right, so what about if and I think this goes back up to if it said true and the number 1, right? Would it come back true or would it come back false?
True.
Okay.
It's true and
exactly. All right, I just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yo, Asha, last question.
Okay.
Is and or is it always going to be asking true, right? I just want to keep note for myself. It's never going to ask for false. No matter what.
Wait. Okay, can you ask it one more time? Because I'm not understanding what you're asking.
So you see how you have the two different sets of prints, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you have and you have or.
Mm-hmm.
Is it ever any situation where it will ask for false versus
yes.
just only
yes.
Okay.
Yes, so you can do this, right? So you can combine and then not, right? So here, okay, A equals 1, B equals 2. Print, this creates a complex condition. This will print true if the first condition is met and if the second one is not met. Okay, so does anyone want to take a stab at this one? Well, I just told you the answer, because A is greater than 10, right? But then A is not greater than B. But
No,
the first condition, wait, what happened? Who's speaking? Sky is speaking? I don't know who's speaking. Sandra.
Okay, so it's saying A is less than 10 and not A is greater than B. The not flips.
Right.
The A is greater than B to true. So
right.
It would be true.
That's right. And so A, it flips the condition. The not flips the condition. That's correct. It reverses the existing logic operation.
Kind of like in math. I got you.
Yeah. So here, let's do this. It's and it's interesting that not exists, but you do use it every once in a while. So here, let me clear my. Let me just clear the screen first. Okay, so not flips the condition, the logic. Okay, so is not 2 greater than 3. So technically, it's going to flip this and say is 3 or is 2 smaller than 3. So it's going to come out true. Here, I'm saying print not false. So it's going to give me true. And here, I'm going to say print not true, and it gives me false, the opposite. Miles, you have a hand raised. No. Okay. Cool. So let's do an if statement. Sandra.
I don't know if this would ever happen, but would you ever read it with the not in front of and? Or would you never do that?
It's not syntactically correct to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, you just wouldn't like typically in Python. It's not PEP8, which is the Python syntax. They're like the people that write they're like the Python people that say bad, your code looks wrong. Yeah, they don't like it that way. So you would not put not in front of and. And I'll explain PEP8 much there at a later lesson, but they're the people who do shame. Your code looks ugly. So there's a couple hands up. Steven.
I just want to say Miles said something's wrong with his mic. He wanted to get in, but he can't.
Get in where?
He wanted to say something, but his mic.
Oh, can you tell him to put?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sorry about that.
Okay.
And thank you, Stephen. My question was, when going back to the question that was asked, if you print true and an integer, like the integer 1, what it would be. So I tried that out in my code here. I assigned a variable a equals 1, and then printed true and a, but it only printed the number 1.
Okay.
Can you explain that for me? Like why it says 1 and not true?
Okay, I'm trying to understand. So you did print what? What did you do?
True and a. I set the variable a to equal 1.
Yeah, he assigned a variable first.
You did that?
Yes.
And what did it give you?
It gave me just the printout of 1.
Sorry, there was like something flying around in my room. I'm gonna have to get back to you. Stump me, so I will get back to you.
Okay.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, I just thought I thought it was an interesting question, so I was like, let me just see what it does, and yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'll get back to you. Christian.
Seems like to me that it's just asking for 1 in general, because it's trues is, we know the value of true is 1 numerically, and a.
Right.
We're not adding or subtracting. We're not comparing. It's just asking for 1. So I think because 1 is 1, it's only arriving at 1 result because they're both the same.
Right.
I'm not sure if that makes sense, but
it does make sense. But it should give us. See, the problem is it's not comparing. See, it should be 2 comparisons, right? This should be a comparison. See, this should be it should be a comparison of 2 things. It's not a logical operator. See, it should be, and is comparing 2 different things. It is like, when you're comparing a Boolean, it's like, yeah, I'm going to have to, it's a longer conversation than just simply, you're comparing a Boolean to a Boolean, right? So, this is a longer conversation than simply we have time right now. And what I'll do is I'll explain it in a post in, the resource channel, the way and works with Booleans. And that this way we can actually, because now it's already 7:30 and we haven't even started if statements. So I will post a message in the resource channel. Stephen, do you have another question? Someone else has a hand up. No more hands. Good? Okay. Sorry. Okay. So, conditional statements. So we focused on true or false statements. So why is it useful? Logic becomes powerful when we apply it to conditional statement, allowing us to execute different code, whether it's true or false. So like an if statement, if something, then you do this, right? So you can use an if statement to run code only when a condition is true or only when it's false. So here I'm going to do, if I'm saying I'm assigning A to 5, if A is greater than 3, print greater than 3. Okay. Oh, save it. And you can see that it printed greater than 3. Makes sense? A is 5, it is greater than 3, so it's printing. And you can see right here that whatever I want to occur, if the logic is true, is indented under the if statement. And there's a colon after there's a colon at the end of the if statement. Make sense? Okay. Next one. A is set to 2 if A is greater than, if A is greater than 3, it's just the opposite, right? It should not print anything at this point because A is not greater than 2. And as you can see, nothing occurred. Any questions? No. Okay. So now let's throw in a little bit of something else, right? So here, if A is greater than 3, I'm going to print greater than 3. Here, if A is not greater, in this example, A was not greater than 3, so it didn't print anything. So let's combine the two, okay? So here, I set A to 2. If A is greater than 3, print greater than 3. And now I'm going to throw in an else statement, okay? So if A is greater than 3, it's a true. Otherwise, essentially, if it's false, you're going to type else, and then you're going to do a colon, and then you're going to indent. Again, if it's a false, I'm going to print less than 3. Save, run, and there you go. Simple logic, right? If it's true, otherwise, if it's false, do this. And you can have as many lines of code as you want under the if or the else. Okay, so again, setting A to 2, I've added a print A under each conditional, so then it'll print the value of A. Saving. So here it printed, because it's less than 2, it prints A, and then it says less than or equal to 3. Any questions? Again, you see that the indentation under the if statement is the same, and then you dedent when you do your else statement, and then you indent again for everything that you want to occur for that else. Okay, the next. So there's one more scenario. What happens if this is not true, and there's an elif, okay? So the elif is short for else if, is similar to else, but comes with its own logic, and it only executes if the previous condition is not met. And I'm going to show you how to use it. So here, A equals 2. If A is less than 0, I'm going to print A. And else if A is greater than 0, I'm going to print this condition, this print statement. Okay. And it should print that it's a positive number. Okay. And the benefit of using elif is that you can have multiple conditions. So here, let me show you that. I'm setting a season to fall. If the season is equal to spring, I'm going to say it's getting warmer. If it's, I'm doing an elif. If it's winter, it's cold out, it's summer, etc. Same thing, right? So let's run this and see, I set it to fall. And then once it finds what my season is equal to, then it prints. Any questions of this? No question?
Can you explain elif again?
So else if is if you want to do, essentially it's if you want, the benefit of using elif is that you can test a series of conditions, and it's short for, again, it's short for else if. So if this condition, if your if is not met, it's going to go to elif, right? And James, do you want to say?
So pretty much elif is we want to use elif if we're testing multiple conditions to look at, and then else if it's only one. Yeah, yes. So one or the other, and then elif is like, well, let's look through multiple. Got you.
Right. Now, and then typically, so say here, you can add an else here, right? At the very end, if nothing matches, right? I can just say, let's do print global warming. Okay. And say this is falling rain. Okay. So here it's going to, we're saving the season as falling rain. It's going to go if the season is spring, if it's winter, if it's summer, if it's fall. It's not going to match any of those. And then it gets to an else, and then it's going to say, it didn't match any of these. So my else is the last scenario. So now it should say it's global warming. So that's the logic. You start with an if, then you do all your elifs, and then your last should be an else. If you want, this is not required. An else is not required. It's your fail safe. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to do, quickly, we're going to do here I'm doing a nested if statement. If A is equal to 10, I'm sorry, I'm setting A to 10. If A is greater than 0, print A is positive. And then I'm on a second level of a nested logic. If A is greater than 10, print A is greater than 10. Otherwise, print A is not greater than 10. What do you think is going to print here? Anyone want to take a guess? Kevin.
I would say that it's gonna print A is positive.
Okay. Is it going to stop there?
No, and then it's gonna print A is not greater than 10.
That's correct. So it's going to hit this if, right? It's going to be true. It's going to print this, and then it's going to go to this, the nested, it's going to test it. A is still true, that it's greater than 10, and it's going to say if A is greater than 10, I'm sorry, It's not greater than 10. So it's going to flip to the else and it's going to print A is not greater than 10. If this had been greater than oh God, Jessica, which way is it in Python now? I don't remember. Is it this way or this way?
That's correct in the front.
It's like that.
I'm learning JavaScript right now too, and I'm like, which way is it? Okay. All right. Okay. Anybody else have questions for today's lesson? Any general questions? What's that? Ephraim.
Yeah, so can you scroll up a little bit where
Yes, sir.
where you were doing seasons?
Yeah, hold on. Where do you want me to scroll to?
Yeah, right there, right there.
Oh,
Where it
right
says
here. Seasons. Oh, seasons. Okay. Sorry.
seasons, yes. So
Okay.
I see that right there, right? So the if, elif, and else statements.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously, I mean, not obviously, but I'm assuming that these conditions are like very like fundamental.
Uh-huh.
So but my question is like, would it be a situation where it's like, is testing a whole bunch of things at once? Like where it says season is a sign, falling rain, and then something else is a sign, and then next thing you know is just like, okay, if this season equals spring, then print elif. So my question is the if, else, and elif statement, is it there for like complex assignments, or like what is it really used for?
It's for complex conditional testing.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yes.
Yes,
Exactly.
it's for complex conditional testing.
Thank
right? If it's this or not this, right? Do this, right? So let me think
I guess it would be for like medicine, right? Like if you put in like if you have a whole bunch of symptoms and
exactly.
You have a whole bunch of symptoms and you can put it into
so WebMD does it, right? So when you type in your symptoms to WebMD, it's calculating, it's in its system, it's saying you have when they did the COVID thing, right? So what are your symptoms? Is it COVID versus the flu, right? It's doing an ELIF, right? If you have this, it's going to be COVID. If you have this, it's going to be the flu, right? So it's, if you have cough and a fever, it funnels it ELIF, right? That's exactly what that was, right? It's a bunch of if ELIF statements, essentially, on the back end.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Somebody else had a hand up. Isaac.
Now, overheard you say you were learning JavaScript.
Yes.
Oh, I was about to say it should be easy. You already know this. It makes it easy for me to understand Python because I know JavaScript.
Well, I know JavaScript. It's just that I learned JavaScript a while ago. It's just that I haven't used it in a really long time. So I'm just refreshing myself. Like I literally have not. I learned it like a year and a half ago and I haven't touched it since. So it's like, if you don't use it, you stop, it's like you got to start over essentially.
Yeah.
So that's all it is. So yeah. And again, it's like you use something and it's like the little things you forget, right? It's like, is it on the front or the back? That's all it is. Cool. Okay. So if you guys want to take a 10-minute break, and then you guys are going to go to breakout rooms and work on exercises. Same breakout rooms as Jessica, you have the list, right? Let me stop sharing.
Yeah, I can share that list again, but it's the same one that's on Canvas and from last week, and your same rooms, and you'll work on the after class exercise for today, for September 11th. So go ahead and take a break and come back at 5 of the next hour.
Let's see. Let's see if anybody in the class know about graphememes and photo memes.
I don't know. What? Like memes as in the funny pictures or as in like a whole other thing?
Like graphememes and photo memes. I guess it's word mapping, taking a simple word and determining. I have no idea what my first grade son just brought home.
I have zero context, buddy.
Chat GPT.
Yeah, I don't use Chat GTP. I do all my own shit. I don't trust AIs. I know too much about computers.
You're
to
so
know
special.
AIs.
You're golden.
You see that?
Oh wow.
I'm being stumped by a first grade question.
Oh, let me see this. I could probably figure this out. Look at the picture and see the word. Next, tap the sounds. All right, zoom out. I can't see it. All right, look at the picture and the word. Next, tap the sound here in each box.
What it says? It says word mapping.
Yeah.
Why is it so insane? It's so
It says look at all the pictures and say the word. Next tap sounds.
Ship?
What is that?
It looks like a spaceship.
It's like a purse. No, it's like a purse.
A purse.
Oh, okay, a purse.
Yeah, that's why it's PURSE. Yeah, purse.
Yeah,
And
purse.
that's a
And the
bus.
second one is a bus, but
No, trolley. TROLLY. TRO.
Yeah, trolley.
there's an E at the end of trolley, I think. TROLLEY.
And then that's a notepad. NOT. No, that's a notebook. No.
Hi, friends.
Hello.
Oh, hi.
I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna figure it out.
Are you smarter than a fifth grader?
I'm not
for syllables?
I've never, ever heard of these words. I've never. And I like to think I would know this stuff. Hold on, give me a second. I got it.
Wait till he has to start doing Common Core math. Then you're really gonna feel like an idiot.
All right, join your breakout room and work on the exercise. I will be around to the rooms to answer any questions if you have any. In the chat and in Slack is the document that has who's the navigator and who's the driver for your groups.
Is it? I don't see what I don't see a chart for the breakout rooms. Is it supposed to be on Canvas or is it the same breakout rooms from the last time?
It's the same breakout rooms. It's also in the chat.
Oh, okay.
And there's also one in Slack, but it's the same, your same group and same room.
Okay.
Rise. Number 4 or number 5?
Number 4.
Number 4, okay.
Steven? Which room do you need to get into?
Room 2, I believe.
Do you not, you don't have the breakout room button?
No, it's not appearing on my, that's why I don't know why. It's not
The
on,
3 dots on the bottom where it says next to whiteboard and Zoom.
no, it's not here.
Okay, so.
I see whiteboard.
And then there's 3 dots. The 3 dots.
No, I don't have them down here. That's what I was saying. I have trouble getting in. I don't know why. It's not appearing on my board.
Okay. You should
All right,
see
here we go. Thank you.
You're welcome. Hey.
Hi.